Shall we start?
Hey guys, Morgan
Madison.
Alivia!
here with Joy
and
and Hope.
Madison didn't start right away.
Hi
Let's
guys.
go with it.
So these are my friends, Madison and Alivia. Whether or not it's a good thing, they're here today helping do this video, and they're really excited, as you can see.
Okay.
So, just a little backstory before we start. So they're over this morning because it's Sunday and we all went to mass together this morning and we were having brunch. We were just hanging out and I was sharing like a little bit about my channel and like one of the recent videos I did, and it was funny because Madison was like, oh my gosh, like this makes me think of this other thing / you should make a video on this topic that we're talking about right now. And I was like, do y'all want to help me? And they were like, why not? So here they are. Yeah, and we're super excited, and we're glad you guys are here. Before we get started, though, let's all say a little prayer together. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Totus tuus, Maria, ego sum. I'm totally yours, Mary. So, here we go. All right. So, what we were kind of talking about at brunch was like how sometimes in life we hear the phrase, that's too good to be true. That's too good to be true. Like, if this thing is happening or your life is going so well in this direction, like, it's probably going to end up being too good to be true. And how sometimes that is true, and how sometimes that's a lie that the devil tries to tell us. So we would just want to unpack that a little bit with y'all. So, first thing, some examples of times when something, like, really might be too good to be true is when something is just too easy. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's a good correlation.
Because we were talking about that at brunch. I think that's kind of how it came up. Because I was somewhere this one time, and like there was a group of people there, and most people happened to be Catholic. But this one person present was Baptist, and so she and I were like kind of sharing different parts of our faiths. But it was like, I don't know, just a little bit unfortunate because I felt like as she kept going, it was more of her like trying to sell like why it's better to be Baptist. And like that might not seem like a bad thing, but in the moment, it was very apparent to me that like the other people were kind of jumping on her bandwagon because the things she was saying were because it was easier. Like, I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying, sharing with y'all that in this particular situation in my life, it felt like in that moment, this girl was saying it's easier to be Baptist than Catholic, therefore it's better. And I remember, like, just kind of stopping her and being like, okay, I'm really sorry, but do you mind, like, push and pause here? I just have an example that I want to share with you. And it's that in school, just because something's easier doesn't mean that it's better. For example, like when I was growing up, there's no way that I would have decided to go to school every single morning if my parents hadn't forced me to. And further, once I was at school, I never would have chosen to do homework if I had a choice, and I never would have taken a test. Like, obviously. Like, we've all been in school.
Yeah.
We can agree school sucks sometimes. It's just true. So, like, I would never have chosen that for myself because I didn't understand that it was what was actually best for me. So I was like, I think you're just kind of getting in this dangerous territory here, friend, in this situation where she was saying all these things. Because I was like, just because like I am supposed to go to mass every Sunday as a Catholic, or because during the season of Lent, like I'm going to give up meat, or like these different things that so many people see as like rules imposed by the Catholic Church. And kind of like offsets them like, no, who are you to tell me how to live my life? There's pride in that.
Yeah.
The same way like when we're growing up being like, I know better than my parents and I know better than my teachers. But looking back, it's like, no, they knew what was best for me. And like what was best for me for like growing and developing as a human person was going to school and was taking tests and was doing these things. And I firmly believe that like Jesus Christ has like instituted his church and that he like asks us through the church to do these certain things. And so in a way that like I don't understand like why going to mass every Sunday is always good for me, or why like certain things, like maybe I don't understand, I firmly believe that like God knows what is spiritually best for me because He's my spiritual father.
Yeah.
And so like it really stopped this girl dead in her tracks because she was like, I hadn't thought about it that way. So that was my example, but we had some other examples too that we talked about at breakfast.
Yeah, and we kind of came to the conclusion that it like transcends into like different areas of life.
Yeah.
So like personally, I'm in ROTC, and so if someone shows up to PT, that's not physical therapy. It's physical training. If someone shows up and
I
they're
know.
like, "Oh, it was a really easy workout today," I'm like, "Well, you were not trying hard enough. If it was easy, because even like I feel like you can do something simple, but like if you're not doing it to the best of your ability, then you're not like, I don't know, you're just that."
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not trying as hard as you can. Exactly. Yeah. So that was definitely something that hit home with me when Madison was sharing it because she actually had like this funny story that happened to her a few weeks ago. Yeah, in ROTC. Not naming names because I've never done ROTC. Me and Olivia are not personally in ROTC. I don't know. Are you ever planning to be in ROTC?
Let's not plan on
Like
it.
I'm just like I'm very much aware that like I don't have the physical capacity to do that. So even this person
Lots
that,
of
like,
respect for everybody who does.
yes. So like even though Madison's gonna share this story, which is just a funny illustration of it, like even this person that day, like I probably couldn't even have gone as hard as that person. But like just to kind of show.
Yeah.
As an
So
example.
I feel like I'm gonna give him a name because
Fake
like
name?
yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna call him Jeff. Yeah.
Love it.
So
Seems fitting, I don't know.
so we're obviously being a female in the military. Like there are like physically there are some challenges that you encounter because you're not automatically as strong as the males. That's just it. Do be that way. It's okay.
It do be that way.
But when the females show up and they're working harder than the males, that's when you know you have like the issue. So here I am with my 40-pound rucksack, not very heavy for those of you that know what I'm talking about. It's not very heavy. And the minimum weight was like 35 pounds. So this guy is in front of me. Like we were running up these stairs and then running across like this platform and then running down the stairs, and we just kept doing that. So here I am behind
Jeff.
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 And I'm like, you know, running with my rucksack, like up these stairs, and he's like heaving and everything, like just not, but like he's not putting a lot of effort in. So like I was behind him and like just trying to pass him, and he was just kind of like, you know, lumping his way up the stairs, and I was like, Jeff, can you pick up the pace or can you move out of the way? Because I'm just trying to ruck, buddy.
I'm just trying to run.
You're kind of, yeah. So that's my funny story.
Yeah.
But it's so true. I'm like, just because something's easier doesn't mean it's automatically.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily have a specific story to look back on, but I think with most things in life, let me just put my arm around you. With most things in life, like it can, especially with our faith, there's so many rules, as Morgan put it, but as we've talked about like before, like most rules aren't there to like put you in a box and like punish you or control your life. There's actually a lot of freedom in things we have. And I found that most of the time, if I don't understand why we do things the way we do, like the problem is not with our church and the way, like our church has been around for a while. I don't think Olivia being born suddenly changes the fact that the church is wrong or right. Like there's a
I don't know what she said in there. I feel like she was trying to be discreet. You keep going.
Okay.
Go, Coco.
Well, I lost my thing, but
Oh, way to go.
oh, my point. I don't think. God.
Something about you being born. You
I
were like
know.
on this track, and you were like, just because
You're like,
Olivia is
it
born.
doesn't
the
change.
fact.
It
Yeah.
doesn't change the fact.
God, you guys. Okay.
It doesn't change God.
I think
I don't
even
even remember.
say something like just because
Something
you were
along the
born, you
lines
don't
of-
suddenly get to make the
Yeah,
rules.
it's normally not like the church's rules are the problem. It's more like I don't fully understand like the heart and the method behind it yet, but I should learn more about it before I like totally write it off, because that would be easier to write it off than to fully like adapt to it.
Yeah. Something I've thought about recently, just kind of in this regard, like, I'm not a parent. I'm nowhere near being a parent. But like, I was talking with someone, at work recently who is a parent, And we were just talking about how, like, it's not a good enough reason to say things like, because I said so.
Yeah.
Like, that works originally for little kids. Because, like, when you're so young that you can't, like, reason through things like, oh, this is wrong because of ... Sometimes it is enough for your parents to be like, you have to do this because mommy said so. Whatever. But, like, once the child matures and they, like, can reason, then it's not enough to say because I said so, because that's a disservice to them and their intellect, like, not helping them understand more. So this woman, she was saying how, like, now that her son is getting older, that's something that she really tries to do, is, like, help him understand the why. And this actually kind of brings up something that we were talking about at brunch too, about how, like, initially in your faith life, it is enough for you to be like, okay, I'm doing this because I don't want to go to hell.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were, because we were talking about sin, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, originally, like, again, when you're little, even, or even if you're an adult and you just have not ever had a faith experience before, maybe your initial motivation is going to be this, I'm going to go to mass every Sunday because I don't want to go to hell. But the hope is that as you spiritually, emotionally develop as a person, that it's not because of that reason alone, but more so you're motivated by love of God. You're like, I want to do X, Y, Z because I love God. So that made me think of that note that we talked about at brunch as well, and what I was talking with a different friend about last week. So all of that kind of hopefully helps people, hopes y'all understand, like, how sometimes when things seem too good to be true, if it's because it's easy, then yeah, it probably is. But it doesn't mean that, like, putting more effort in isn't worth it.
Yeah,
It
it's
means that it
definitely
is.
more rewarding to see your hard work pay off.
Yeah, like any other thing in life.
Right, yeah.
And I feel like you should never get to a point, like, in any area of your life where you're just, like, complacent. Like, I feel like you should always be working to be the best you can be. Like, if you're gonna be a teacher, you should be the best teacher you could be. If you're gonna be whatever, an athlete, a student, a Christian, like, you should always work to just, like, keep chipping away at making progress.
Amen.
Yeah.
I've heard it said that, like, if you're not, like, at least in the spiritual life, and sorry if, like, a certain saint or somebody said it and I don't have them to quote, but, like, I know it's impacted my life, so whoever it was, thank you. But, like, if you're not moving forward, you're falling backward. Like, there is no standing still.
Yeah.
Like, in the spiritual life, like, you are always growing closer to God or falling back,
Mhm.
which is also a crazy thought. And it's like, well, shoot, you know, whip that into shape.
Yeah.
So, like, the second piece of this that we kind of want to talk about is how sometimes, like, if something seems to be going really well, there's that fear that it is too good to be true, but that's not automatically true. Like, that's not automatically right. Like, for example, right now in my life, you guys, and I've shared this with all of you, like, I so firmly believe, like, that I feel called by the Lord to do Joy and Hope full time. And that's terrifying because, like, as I transition to move and kind of start this next chapter of my life and then step away from, like, the current job I have to do this full time and just trust the Lord will provide, like, monetary support, like, there's fear in that. And it's like, there's this huge fear that, like, it's too good to be true. That, like, I could give my life over to this ministry and be totally provided for by the Lord through the compassion and love and support of other people. But that's a lie. Like, that is a lie from the devil, because we see so many people out there who do ministry in this same way, or even priests and religious sisters. Like, I've told all of you, like, I discerned with this group called the CFRs, and something that those sisters do, they, like, never, I'm pretty sure they told me this when I was there. Sorry if I'm wrong, sisters. I think they said, like, we never buy groceries. Like, we literally never buy food for ourselves. We trust totally in divine providence. You should have seen their basement, guys. Like, they run a soup kitchen, so, like, all of the food that they have is just donated. And I don't even know if they, like, campaign for donations or if people just literally drop stuff off on their steps all the time. Like, God provides.
Yeah.
So
Big facts. Like, y'all, it really is that reckless. Like, honest, it really is that reckless. Like, every time I've been, like, in some kind of doubt of, like, even whenever I'm, like, in the midst of, like, sinning, I'm like, dude, like, so much grace. Because, like, definitely don't deserve the blessings that I'm getting right now. And he's just like, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were talking about the song Reckless Love this morning,
Yeah.
too, by Corey Asbury. And sorry if I say your name wrong, Corey. I'm so sorry. I'm terrible with
Yeah,
names.
he's gonna see this.
Yeah,
Just in the comment section.
I know.
You don't know, he might.
It's gonna be a link to, like, the pronunciation.
But
Send the
no,
link.
for real, like, his song, we love this song, Reckless Love, because it's so true. He's, like, talking the whole time about how, like, I don't deserve it, I couldn't earn it, still you give yourself away, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God, and it's so true. Like, whether we're, like, no matter who you are, no matter, like, you could be the worst sinner in the world, and I believe it was Jesus revealing it to St. Faustina. He was like, the bigger the sinner, the more they deserve my grace, and the more they deserve my mercy, and the closer I will be to them when they repent, just because they need so much extra help, and I will be there.
Mm-hmm.
So know that, like, if something really good is happening in your life and you are excited about it, and it brings you joy and hope and beauty and goodness and excitement, and, like, is bringing you closer to God and making you a better person, that's God. Like, that is how God leads. Olivia literally said this morning, she was like, talk about the coronavirus and your fear, and how you were like, God doesn't work through fear. You literally said that to me this morning. This is exactly that.
I'm very cautious. I try not to live in fear, but I'm so cautious. Sometimes I'm overly cautious, and I forget to trust. Because I sent you guys this. Sorry, didn't slap you. I sent I sent you guys this the other day. It was like the chances of you being born are like 400. I don't want to butcher this.
I think it was 400 trillion.
Yeah, like 1 in 400 trillion. So, like, that's just crazy that we're even here, let alone that we all met each other at a certain time, let alone that we all lived in a place at a certain time. Like, everything that lines up, like, you can't just tell me that just happened. Like, there was no, like, divine providence, whatever, in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And literally today at Mass, our priest was like, no matter what's going on with this coronavirus thing, like, we have God. Like, God is here. Like, there's no reason to be afraid. And when we got back from Mass,
it's not like it blindsided God. I'm pretty sure he knew it was going to happen.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure when he said, like, trust me, don't lean on your own understanding, he didn't mean, except when the coronavirus comes.
Yeah,
then please lean on yourself.
Yeah, I've got you up until COVID-19.
Yeah.
Starts, and then it's
And with that said,
you have
like,
legs. You have legs.
Yeah.
I know because I made them. Like, that's what
I know because I made them. Like, with that being said, obviously take the regular precautions.
Yes.
Like, we are not health officials. Wash your hands, do all that stuff. And I'm not saying it's not a big deal, because I have people I really care about that I don't, like, I want to protect them, therefore I'm going to do everything I can. But also, I don't want to worry about it to the point where I'm trying to take the place of God and, like, control the situation. You're never going to have control in your life. Like, you're never going to have complete control.
Amen.
It's never going to be like The Sims, where you get to pick when you eat and everything. Like, that's not how it is. You have to, like, surrender your control and be okay with that. Because I promise you, if you're really looking to do God's will, that's going to plan out, like, that's going to fall into the plan he has already made. You know?
And it goes right back into what we were talking about, like, if something's too good to be true. Like, if you feel like you're in complete control of your life, like, humble yourself a little bit.
Or he will humble you.
They will humble you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, he will.
Yes, big time. Because, I don't know, like, one of the fears I have with doing Joy and Hope, it's like, oh, but what if I don't have this consistent income, like, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I had a really good friend's husband just lose his job out of the blue. Like, he was the sole provider of their family, like, great job, benefits, like, nothing could have been foreseen.
Yeah.
And boom, like, he loses his job. Like, there really is, like, no total control. Like, I love how whichever one of you said, like, surrender. Like, it is totally in surrendering to God and, like, trusting your life up to Him. That is the only way to, like, true happiness and peace, because there is going to be no control in this life, and there's no certainty, but there's a peace in that.
Yeah, I think I went to adoration like yesterday or something, and I journaled about this because I was feeling anxious about this situation and like how much control we lack. But I wrote like, if we could control our lives, like if we controlled every aspect, and there's some truth to that, like of course we have choices, but if we like handpicked everything and everything worked out how we picked it, there would be no adventure, like nothing spontaneous.
Yes.
Nothing, like there would be no joy and beauty in that, because like most things that we find that are so joyful in our lives are unexpected.
Yes.
So if we had complete control, there would be like, there wouldn't be like beauty in the life that we live.
Yes, you know? And John Paul II, St. John Paul II, one of our personal patrons, he, in his letter to artists, which is so good, see the link below for that. I will post that because it's so good. He says beauty will change the world.
Yeah.
And like, it really will.
Mm.
Are you looking something up that you wanted to share?
Yeah, share with the class.
Yes.
It's Morgan's inner teacher. Like, do you have enough to share with the class? Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
It's
I
show and
have
tell.
enough to share with the class. So, something that someone said kind of like reminded me of this, and it's like one of my favorite Bible verses, and it's like, I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I've learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. And that just kind of like is something that I've been like especially reflecting on, and humbling yourself to know that like you're not in control, and like that's okay. But it is those like dips that like give you the opportunity to lean.
Yes.
And like if you were in complete control, if you were like the little sim,
I know.
in life.
Love that example.
I don't know if this
Maybe
is
they'll sponsor us.
I just need to type it on my keyboard. But like it is those little dips in life that give you an opportunity to like truly lean on God.
Yes. Amen. What verse is
Oh.
that, by the way?
Okay.
Because I don't know if I've ever
Madison
heard
made
that
it
one.
up. Yeah, Madison just pulled it up.
Someone in the Bible.
MR 24/7.
Wait, what?
Sorry, 24.
No,
it's
I was like,
it's
what book is that?
Philippians 4:12.
Philippians 4:12. Love that.
Bars. Whole book.
So, just an encouragement to anyone watching today. Where are the areas in your life where you have tried to hit the easy button because you're scared? Like you're scared to step out of the boat of your comfort. You're scared to walk on the water with Jesus, or you're just scared of like maybe how it's gonna hurt to do whatever it is, or how you might get made fun of.
I was scared to make a YouTube video. Here we
Turns
are.
out- turns out you're a natural.
Turns out we're fine.
Yeah. Well, we're not. It's not over yet. Just kidding. You are. You're great. And like, oh my gosh. One of my friends said this once, and I love it. He was like, every time that like you're nervous about something, it just means something really good is coming. So like, don't live in that fear. Fear is not from God. We already talked about that. So like, don't live in this fear of you want your life to be easy because you think it's going to be better. It's always worth it to respond to whatever call Christ is giving you in this day, in this moment, in this season of your life. Because as we can all attest to, like saying yes to Joy and Hope, to ROTC, like to whatever it is, like we can attest to the beauty of that life, even if it's lived in uncertainty. So have hope, know that. And then the second thing, if something seems like it's going really well, like let's say you do say yes, and there's just this great excitement coming along with it, like don't let the devil whisper into your ear like he tried to do with Eve, like he tried to do with Jesus even. Like, don't let him convince you that it's too good to be true, when in reality, this particular situation that might be going like really, really well for you, that's a blessing from God. That's from God, and he wants you to have that. So be at peace in knowing that if it doesn't work out, it's not that it was too good to be true, but that God knows there's something coming for you that's going to be even better.
He's not gonna withhold good things from you for fun. Like, let me just
Yeah.
hold this one back. Well,
Yeah.
I'll wait.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
God is
Yeah,
not.
do flex.
Right. That's gonna be a quote after this. I love that. So yeah, we just really wanted to encourage all of you with those words of hope, those words of joy and hope today. So if y'all wouldn't mind saying a little prayer with us to close off, we'd appreciate it. All for the greater glory of God. Amen. In the name of the
Amen.
Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God bless y'all. If you liked this video, please click the like button. If you want to see Olivia and Madison back, feel free to comment. If
We're gonna get roasted in the comments.
No. Oh, yeah.
Oh. I used
If
my left.
you don't
use
want
your
to
right.
see them back, that's okay too.
Yeah, we understand.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Use
But yeah,
correction.
please subscribe if you haven't already. Like, comment, share, all that good stuff. And until next time, see you guys later. God bless.